This is Red Moon Role-Playing.
Before we begin, I would like to check your dramatic hooks. First of all, Mr. Coleman, what dramatic hooks does he have remaining, and how many does he need to add?
Well, I had none remaining, so I have to have 2. The first one will be, of course, finding out how to keep it on. I do not know what that means, so finding out even any information would be something I'd like to do.
Hjalmar, do you have a dramatic hook for Mr. Coleman?
It's gonna be related to this, what we just did, I suppose, in a way, but also to what I gave you last time, because you were gonna try and play the friends and colleague cards with your little interest, to protect yourself and protect what's going on. There's also something very strange just now happened. I want to somehow put it into a hook, that you don't really want to lose her, right? Not completely, and I want to put it in there that it's a good thing to keep her away because of all the crazy things that's going on, especially with a knife. Did you just stab someone? But maybe you want to tell her a little bit about your life. Maybe she won't be so positive right now, but maybe you want to tell her about a bit of what happened just this day with the kayak.
Try and confide in her, maybe.
And then for Hjalmar, Dr. Christensen, you have 1 remaining still, which is to look into what's happening with these tunnels, and you also have an obsession with that. But then you have 1 that you cleared, which means that we want Craig to give you 1.
You will be obsessed, as you already said. You already are obsessed. You're an obsessive person, I think it's safe to say. And this new obsession will be, why was your daughter in the woods? You must find out why. Why was there a girl in the... Even if it was a dream, why did you dream that? That you must find out.
Then let's get right into it. What happened after you resurfaced in Corvallis is a bit of a blur at this point. A passerby stopped and offered to help. You were at the hospital, which was very busy with injured people from the protests in the city center. Rocks, tear gas, that kind of thing. Given, who, especially you are, Dr. Christensen, your colleagues did give you some priority and ran the both of you through a concussion check. Fortunately, they ended up clearing you both. For you, Mr. Coleman, since Dr. Christensen had treated your wounds well already, they just changed the bandages and, that was really all that was necessary. You were free to go home. They would likely normally have tried to keep you in for observation in order to extract as much as possible from your medical insurance, but they were at full capacity due to everything happening on the streets. Did you tell them anything about what you saw? And I'll start with Mr. Coleman.
No, not at all. It would sound insane, and in a way it was. Plus, I'm not 100% sure how much of it actually happened. Some of it was definitely a dream, a hallucination. We were both drowning in water. I didn't see most of those things, of course. I didn't stab a man. I didn't see figures in woods. But there was some meaning to it. The knife was telling me something, and that's one thing I know. I had to figure out what it meant. How can I keep it on? Whatever it is that needs to be kept on is important to what I protect. It's important to safety, and I need to figure that out. But no, of course I will say nothing. I will say we drowned. I will, of course, mention the doctor saving my life. I'm very grateful for that. He did save my life. But everything else is not something doctors need to know. Not for the moment, anyway.
And what about you, Dr. Christensen? Did you speak of what you saw on the Willamette, or what you saw in the forest?
I, on the other hand, seeing as how I had no concussion, no physical indication of any sort that I should have experienced some sort of hallucination, I believe that this actually happened. This did happen. Everything happened. There was a great storm. I don't know how. I don't know if it was local to that area that we were, and I'm going to ask about this rally, this protest. I don't know anything about that, but I know about there possibly being a lot of injured people from the storm that happened, and on the river, I mean, our thing. There must have been more people being worse off than us, because I was able to be there and check on both of us in a way.
And the nurses and doctors, they listen to you patiently, and they, of course, are validating what you're saying and are trying to be very respectful of what it is that you're saying. But they point out that there was no storm, but going through an accident like that, well, it can do all kinds of things with the mind, really. The good thing is that you're both alive and that you both made it through that.
And for me, that is a bit of a provocation at first, because of course it happened. Of course there was a storm. And of course, what would they know? I'm not talking to meteorologists. If there was a local sort of incident where just that somehow only affected me and Coleman, maybe the rest of the people out there slowed down because of the fog and we were in the front where this actually happened. Maybe that's why. I'll need to either talk to someone that knows a bit about weather or go to the place and investigate myself. And I started to make mental notes on the things I would need to try and recreate this event. But then it hits me more than anything else that there was someone else there. Someone else that I know. Not just me and Coleman, but my daughter was there. Cadence was there. She looked different in a way, but it was her. That is something that I'll need to hang on to. And I'm gonna ask her about this. What is she doing? What is she up to?
All the doctors, again, they humor you and they listen respectfully. You do get a feeling that they are very keen on moving on to the next case. The hospital is, well, under a lot of pressure right now. So you get your time, but not much more than that. There are perhaps some question marks in some of the people that you have spoken to about what it is that you were saying and how it doesn't match with the reality that they have experienced. But, well, there's a lot of other things going on, and your story is hardly the most, well, difficult one on a night such as this one, given everything that's happening out there. So, when you're finished and they let you go, you find that you have people waiting for you outside of the hospital. It's Mikkel and the kids. They're standing out there waiting for you. They were there. They must have heard that you were at the hospital. The kids immediately run up to you as soon as they see you, and they're both hugging you.
I feel a bit apprehensive, and I did initially, at least before, feel bad and worried about the worries that I would have put on them in turn by being away for however long that was with the storm and what happened in the forest. So as they come, I let them hug me, and I hug them back, and I pet them.
Daddy! And Mikkel is also coming up and hugging you. I'm so happy that you're all right, honey. I was so worried.
Yeah, I'm sorry to have caused any worry. Well, it's been a day. What do you think, everyone? What time is it now?
Well, it's quite late at night, pretty close to midnight. It's Sunday night. You seem to have been just gone during the day.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm guessing like in Corvallis that things aren't open too late. It's not like we can go somewhere now and have a milkshake, for example.
No, and you've gotten the picture that the center of the city is not a place that you want to be right now. There's still protests ongoing, and you can hear fireworks, tear gas canisters landing, and things like that. It's not that far away, actually, that all these things are happening. There's police pretty close to the hospital to kind of keep things safe here. But there's a lot of upset people out there. Mikkel, after she's hugged you, she takes you aside a little bit. She says, look, this is an awful time to say this, but you need to know, and you're going to find out anyways. And Dr. Whitehead, she's dead, Jermaine. Car accident. She'd been drinking.
And I feel a chill going through my body. She can't be. We just met yesterday and we had an episode, but she was gonna be fine. We talked. I talked to her. She was gonna get straight onto the point. No.
Mikkel just looks to you and says, what's this gonna mean for the research?
Look, she's been a great. Let's get home, okay, everyone? Let's get home, everybody. It's been a long day.
We shouldn't trouble Daddy with anything more now. It's been tough. We're just happy that you're alive, because we love you.
Yeah, I love you too. Love you too. And I look down at Cadence, look at her face, try to visualize what I saw earlier in the woods.
Yeah, it's the same face. This is the Cadence that though. The one that you saw in the forest looked, there was scars and it was very dirty. A bit different, but other than that, very similar. But she's smiling at you, and she seems very happy that you're back. She's the Cadence that you've always known, the Cadence that loves you, your little princess.
Yeah, that makes this all the harder because I'm gonna have to talk to her, but I'll talk to Mikkel first and their day, because what were they gonna do again? Were they gonna cheer me on? They said they would do something else. Let's get to that. And I look around to see if I see the car. I mean, we were gonna get a replacement gotten for us. Have we got it? Did we get the replacement, the car?
You did. And Mikkel gets you to your replacement car. It's a Honda. Not a particularly fancy car necessarily, not like the Tesla that has been damaged. But it gets you to where you need to go, and Mikkel takes you and the kids back home. But it's not just Dr. Christensen that comes out of the hospital. There's of course Mr. Coleman also. And as you emerge from the hospital, having called an Uber to come pick you up, you too notice that someone's waiting for you there. She's wearing a long red coat with a white beanie. It's Miss Forrest, Elizabeth. The night air is quite chilly, and she's rubbing her mitten-clad hands together to stay warm. She smiles at you as you come out. What do you do?
I have to fight back the urge to be extremely nervous. I'm confused. I don't know why she's here. I mean, I'm happy to see her, but this isn't a good time. And at the same time, I don't feel well at all. I've had a horrible day, evening. I don't even know, actually, now how much time has passed. It's all been very confusing. And I still don't feel very good. I'm glad that I didn't suffer concussion or anything, but I have a massive headache. I feel unkempt and nervous about what everything has meant, but I will attempt to smile as I say, Elizabeth, what are you doing here?
I heard what happened. I was really worried for you. And she comes up to you. Are you okay?
Oh, Yeah, I'm okay. It was just a little... that's what I get for trying to be physical.
I got your message. I get it if you think that things are moving too fast, but I just have to say this. I really do like you a lot, Daniel. I really do.
Oh, I know. I know, and I do too. I just kind of trail off. I'm not entirely sure what to say.
The Uber arrives. It's a white Subaru. And she sees that. Given what happened, maybe I should follow you home, just in case. I could be your nurse or something. She smiles at you, hopefully. What do?
That would be nice. Okay, you can come back to my place. If that's what you want, I can't say I wouldn't like the company. I don't know if I'll be very good company, though, at the moment.
I'm sure you'll be fine. And you get into the Uber and takes you back home. Dr. Christensen. You don't really know how things end up going so quickly, but as soon as you get home, you find yourself extremely tired. And the rest of the family is as well. It's way past bedtime anyways. So when we join you again, it's the morning of Monday, November 11th. It's cold and grey outside, and the schools are closed today because of, well, everything. You are sitting in the living room. As you said, you wanted to speak to Cadence, so you're there with Cadence. What are you doing? Are you playing, reading?
Playing with a toy dog. It's been added to a little family of dolls. It's the dog thing still going on. I feel absent, tired. I wanted to do something to calm the family yesterday, but I was just so tired, and now I'm not even sure how to approach this.
Daddy?
Yeah.
Daddy, why is everyone so angry on the news?
Oh. Yeah, well, and what is the protest about? What is going on, really?
Well, the local news, KZ9, has reported on ongoing riots both in Corvallis, Portland, across the rest of the country for that matter. As protesters and counter-protesters that are clashing. Everywhere there's unrest and anger. The National Guard has been called into some cities, which seems to have only riled people up even further. Things are bad, and you can't help but have a sinking feeling that they're about to get even worse. It's all about the election, of course.
They're angry because a lot of people decided to make a bad choice for who they thought was going to be the next president. Now, they are going to express their rights, and unfortunately, it's in a bit of a violent way. Not like we do it, because we talk about everything, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And at kindergarten as well, they said we should always talk. We shouldn't fight. We should solve problems without violence. That's really important. They said that if you talk, then you can find common ground.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that means, but talking is good. That's what the teachers say.
Well, a common ground is like saying, if you're saying that you want chocolate ice cream today, but I say that I want vanilla ice cream today, then maybe we can make a deal and get vanilla with chocolate chip ice cream. Something in the middle.
Ooh, I love chocolate chip.
Oh yeah? Well, maybe we can go and get some a bit later. What do you think?
I'd love that. I love chocolate.
Yeah. But first, before we do that, I wanted to talk to you about something. Because
okay.
because of yesterday, I was out, I was in the kayak, I was out paddling, you remember?
Yeah, and something bad happened, and you almost drowned, that's what Mama said.
Yeah, but luckily I didn't, so we can be here together. What did happen though was that I got lost in the woods. Together with Coleman, who you might remember, a friend.
Oh.
Yeah?
Yeah, getting lost is so scary.
Yeah.
Remember when I got lost at the store? I was so scared.
Yeah. But you were also very brave.
I was.
You were. And I was trying to be brave too. But then in the forest, some strange things happened. And what did you do? What did you do when I didn't come back yesterday, or when I didn't show up for a little while? Where were you then?
Yesterday, me and Mommy and Ira, we were waiting. We were going to wave to you when you kayaked by, and then you weren't there. And then we heard that there'd been an accident, and that you were gone. And Mama took us home, and she was on the phone a lot. She was calling people. She was trying to find out what had happened. So me and Ira, we played video games because that helped us to think about other things, because we couldn't do anything to help you. I won in Mario Kart.
You played video games, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that everything you did?
We played a lot of video games, more than we're supposed to. We only get to play for 1 hour, right? But I think we played for 2.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
I'm not sure if I believe you there, darling, because when I was out in the woods, guess who I saw being in the woods, climbing in the trees?
I can't climb trees. I'm broken and nobody can fix me. Ira can run so fast and she's so strong. She's so much stronger than me. I can't do any of that.
You're not broken. And there are things that we're gonna help, It's not you. Who said that? Who told you you're broken and can't be fixed?
You hear the sound of sirens passing by outside. Quite a few police. Yeah, it's police cars and some ambulances. It's quite loud, passing by very close. And then you hear a bonk sound, and you look down and you see the Cadence is on the floor. She's still.
Cadence? I kneel down and I try to jostle her a bit.
She isn't breathing.
She's not breathing.
Mikkel is suddenly at the door. Oh, baby. Jermaine, what's wrong with her? My baby, Cadence.
Then I'll quickly lift her up and I'll bring her up to my office and the table that I have there to get the pulse started.
You have an AED, an automatic one of these defibrillator things that you can utilize. You just need to place those electrodes according to the instructions. I mean, you could do this much better than the instructions that's written on the machine. And you do get her breathing again. She takes a breath and begins opening her eyes weakly.
Just lay down.
Daddy, my chest.
Lay down, darling.
My chest, it hurts. I'll call an ambulance, Mikkel is yelling.
Great. Yeah, just lie down, darling. We're gonna make sure you're okay. All right? You're fine. Just need to lie down for a bit. Try breathing slowly now. That's it.
It hurts. And she's crying, and it seems to be really, really hurting. She seems to be in extreme pain.
Damn it. Mikkel is calling the ambulance. I'm gonna do whatever I can at this point. If her heart does hurt, I'm gonna have to listen to it and see what the state of it is.
It's on its way. It'll take a while. The roads are blocked and they're tied up with folks injured during the clashes downtown. They'll get here, though.
I know.
You just have to be strong. Come on, Cadence, you can do it. And
Mikhail, please, can you calm down? Calm down. You're not helping.
Her baby's dying. Come on. How can you ask me to calm down?
She needs to be calm, okay? So you need to be... I step a little bit to the side. She needs to be calm, and how can she be calm if you're like this? If you're not going to calm down, then please step outside.
She looks at you. She gives you a kind of dark look, as though... How can you not understand how it must feel for me as a mother to see my child going through this? And she turns away and she goes back downstairs, and you're there with Cadence waiting for the ambulance. And we move to Mr. Coleman. It is morning where you are as well. Morning sunlight peers in through the blinds and wakes you. You're in your bed. Elizabeth is lying naked next to you, still sleeping. Must be tired after the trip she came back from. You do seem to have hogged the covers, and she looks a little cold.
Oh, I quickly moved the covers back. She needs them, and she can't just be lying around, completely naked with no covers. And I'll touch her a little. Do I remember what happened last night? Seems to have all suddenly gone by very quickly.
What happened last night? How did it come to this? And you can restore 2 points of stability from having spent time with this close connection of yours.
Oh, I suppose when I think about it, we just chatted, didn't we? And sat down and I had a drink. Maybe not the best idea, but I think it helped. Thanks to the doctor, I was fine and didn't have any proper injuries other than a bit of a headache, so a few drinks didn't hurt. And I suppose I just asked her questions about what she was up to, really. I didn't really want to talk about myself at the time. But, well, maybe that will change. I suppose it's nice to be here now. I do find myself thinking, did I go down to the basement? I must have, because obviously I had to put it away. Yes, I did make an excuse at one point, so that's down below, safe, and I suppose everything's fine now. To a point. I think I'll just lie back in bed. Maybe I should take a few days off.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? You see that there's a message that's come in on your phone. It's from Anthony, from your business manager.
Great. Alright, I guess I've got to have a look at that then. Let's open my phone and look at the message.
It's a very short one. DRC situation stabilized, operations resumed, no loss in output.
Good to know it's sorted. I'll simply say good, and that's done. Great. That's good. Okay, maybe I can take a few days off. Maybe pencil out any more charity kayak trips. Not like I really liked them, and I think I have a good excuse now to get out of them.
Output loss. The audit. Yeah, there was an audit of your lumber operations a number of years ago. That man, the one in the forest, you recognized him. You remember him now. You know how sometimes when you just get a little bit of time away from something, your brain kind of works in the background? It must have done that for you now. Yeah, he was an auditor, Jonas Strand. He worked with KPMG locally here in Corvallis. He got very sick and passed maybe 2 years ago. Heart trouble, very common. That was him. What the hell was he doing there?
I suppose I'm not sure what to make of that, but yeah, now I think about it, the guy was familiar.
But that can't be real, right? I mean, there's just something about the whole thing that just doesn't really feel real anymore, does it? Because it couldn't be, right? None of it could be real, not really, right?
No, I mean, it's not like it wasn't real. There was something happening there, but it was the dagger. It was talking to me, telling me things which it does to keep me safe, because I need to keep it safe, and therefore it keeps me safe. So somehow it was a metaphor or a vision, I think, It's not important. The stabbing some imaginary man wasn't important. What was important was keep it on, and I could find myself wondering, what could it mean? What could that have actually meant? Obviously, I've got to keep something going, which is what I'm doing, I suppose. Is it a sign that I just need to keep... Maybe I should stay closer to home for a while. I kept thinking of going on a holiday or getting away for a time, but maybe there's something bad will happen if I do that. Maybe. I kind of muse it over, not really sure what to make of this information as I just try and get comfortable in bed.
You feel a hand caressing your neck. You have been sort of sitting up as you have been checking your phone. Elizabeth has woken up and she's hugging you from behind. You feel her breasts pushing up against your back. Hey, you. She's kissing your neck and... Well, her left hand is working its way down your chest and belly. What do you do?
Morning. You sleep well?
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. I'm glad. You know, some people don't sleep well. I mean, well, they sleep okay here, I guess. Not that many people sleep here, I guess. but, you know, some people wait. That house is a bit old creaks and all that.
Do you want to talk, or do you want to let her do what she is about to do?
Well, I would really not mind letting her do what she's doing, but I don't know. I kind of feel suddenly a little awkward, and I do keep talking, and I say, "You sure you slept okay?"
Yes, I slept well. You have a very nice bed. She stops what she was doing and lies down again in bed.
I just don't have that many people over often. There's a reason for that, you know. It's a stupid reason, though.
Huh. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, maybe. I mean... Well, actually, maybe it's a good question for the morning, not the evening. Do you believe in ghosts?
No, Daniel, I don't believe in ghosts.
Really?
I'm not a child. Do you believe in ghosts, really? That's cute.
Well, hang on. Don't make fun. No, I mean, the thing is, people have said since I was a child that this house is haunted.
Really?
Yeah, have you not actually heard that? Even people at the party sometimes joke about it.
People say all kinds of things. I mean, come on, there's no such thing as haunted houses. Except for Disneyland, you know?
I suppose. Thing is, I've seen some weird stuff in the house as I've grown up. I know most of it's probably explainable, but some of the other parts of the house, maybe it's just, you know, classic superstitious storytelling. Maybe my dad's to blame, but some of the older parts of the house are a bit creepy. You do sometimes hear stuff rattle in the night.
You know what we should do? We should go to Egypt, you and me, and we can fight mummies. How about that?
That actually sounds quite fun.
Yeah. It would be fun. We could go together. Let's go to Egypt. And that's kind of where that conversation goes.
And I think I let that happen. I do want to go to Egypt. I do want to go to Egypt with Elizabeth. Maybe I can do that. Maybe what I need to do is nothing. Maybe, after all, for a moment in that forest, I suddenly felt I had to do something, turn it off. I the doctor there in that dream, and then I was told not to. So maybe the house is safest if I just take it easy and just make sure everything's safe here and not stir the pot too much with new business ventures and new business dealings. Maybe that's exactly what it meant, and I'll sit back and think that's what I'm going to do. That makes sense.
You do. You'll be safe together here. She tickles you and you have a great continuation of the morning together. Dr. Christensen, I would like you to roll experiment gone wrong and bad reputation.
I roll a 17.
Next is bad reputation.
That is a 12.
So, you are finally at the hospital. Cadence is asleep in her hospital bed, and Mikkel is leaning her head on your shoulder. She seems to have forgiven you after everything. I mean, it's a stressful situation, and you did make sure that your daughter stayed alive. Ira is with the neighbors. The sound of the heart monitor is beeping rhythmically and assuredly in the background. I never get used to seeing her like this, Jermaine. I just don't. Do you?
No. And then it needs to stop. We need to get that research going again. I'm sorry I snapped at you before. Just, I get stressed too. You know, I worry too. There are so many things that I want her to be able to do, and I want to see that future. It's, and I try and pat her on the back, just rub her, stroke her with my hand.
I know, honey. I don't blame you. You went through something extremely stressful yourself just yesterday, and we're just glad that you're here and that we're together.
Yeah, she told me that you brought them back home when I didn't show up, and make a lot of calls trying to locate me. I thank you for that. I heard they played a little extra time on the Nintendo. She seemed to have enjoyed that.
Yeah, I know they're not supposed to do that, but I just needed it because I just had to make so many calls. It was so difficult, Jermaine. It was so difficult to get through to people. It's just everyone's so busy with everything else going on right now, and I don't know. I just feel like everything is falling to pieces. Society is just crumbling. It's just, and this as well is just. I'm just so afraid, Jermaine. I'm just so afraid.
What it's just the past few years with everything that's happened. I think everyone is very tense, and I understand. I feel the same way. But we live in a nice, safe community. This is gonna die down. You know how it is. Having the campus and the students, they are always gonna be a bit more active in these kind of questions. But people will calm down, and we have a nice house. We got beautiful children, and we're gonna get this right, okay? I'm gonna carry on with the research. We didn't have time to talk yesterday, and Dr. Whitehead obviously been going through a lot of things, and I can't help but feel that if this is where she was headed, maybe it was just better that she wasn't on this particular project, you know, with our child's life being in the hands. I wouldn't have wanted her dead, don't get me wrong, nowhere, but imagine if she showed up drunk or something for work.
Yeah, I suppose that would have been bad. Yeah. There's a call on your phone.
Excuse me for a bit. I'm just gonna step out.
It's your new phone. Of course, your old one is dead, but you got a new one.
Pick it up. Let's see who it is.
It's Dr. Whitehead's boss, the administrator, Diane Wainwright. Dr. Christensen, we would like to ask you to come see us. I'm afraid it's rather urgent. We haven't really gotten a call from Miss Wainwright up until now. You know that Dr. Whitehead was always a bit scared whenever she called, kind of worried. She's kind of strict, and she holds all the purse strings of the hospital, so, you know, important to make a good impression with someone like her.
Yeah, I let her know in a formal way that I'll be there as soon as possible, and I step back to Mikhail. Well, speaking of the work, seems like the manager, the boss, is calling. I'll have to go there. Are you going to be okay here?
Sure. Hey, look, she points to the TV. They've occupied the campus. It's like 1968 all over again.
Yeah. Well, it's big times in history. It's gonna change a lot of things, possibly, or keep things from changing, which could be worse.
Yeah. Well, you should get going. It sounded important.
Yeah. How do I look?
Just as handsome as when I said yes to your proposal.
Thank you. Look, but am I okay for a board meeting?
You'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. And feeling a bit reassured and also motivated. Try and get this going now. Show them that I am a worthy successor. I set off.
Yes. Well, you are in the hospital already, so it's not far. It's just head up one floor and then to the office spaces. On the way, you notice that some of the staff are looking at you and then looking away. The office is brightly lit, filled with cubicles. Phones are ringing constantly, and it seems to be extremely busy. What do you think as you move through the office?
As people look away from me, my first thought is what just happened yesterday, thinking, is the talk going around now with me talking about a storm that no one believes has existed. And I don't think much more about that because I'm in my own mind, in my own head, trying to go over what I'm going to tell her, how I can reassure her.
Well, you are shown to a meeting room. There's a chair for you, and then there's a desk. There's 3 people across from you. There's Diane Wainwright in her 60s, grey hair, wearing a Hillary Clinton type pantsuit. On her sides is one young lady that you know as the hospital's legal manager, Crystal Lee, yes, as well as the HR manager, Anita Radkovich. This is not a good sign, Jermaine. Not a good sign at all. Have you ever been fired from a job before, Dr. Christensen?
No, not fired. I've been moving on and myself from department to department in a way. Sort of always gotten away with that. Some people might ask why I'm not so keen to stay in one place, but I guess I've been lucky so far, and this feels a bit alien to me. This is a bit different, a bit unsettling.
Yeah, thank you for coming in on such short notice. I understand your daughter has had a medical emergency. Is she all right?
Mrs. Wainwright, Mrs. Crystal, Mrs. Radkovich, yes. Yes, she is being seen to now, and yeah. As you know, she has a timer hanging over her head, but hopefully that timer is still gonna stay at the 3 years that she's had. Maybe before then, let's who knows what we could accomplish.
And of course, my condolences on the loss of Dr. Whitehead. It has shaken us all. This whole thing, it doesn't feel genuine. It's like she's asking and saying these things because she has to appear human. That's the feeling that you get.
I hate these kind of people, but sometimes one day, maybe that could be me. I shudder at the thought. My condolences as well. She was working closely with you, more so than I.
Now, believe me, if we could do this at a different time, we would, but we don't have that luxury. I'll get right to the point. We've received some disturbing content. She dims the lights and pulls up a video on the projector on the screen. The legal manager gets up and puts down the blinds of the windows so that no one can look inside from the office. The video shows yourself and Dr. Whitehead working on one of your test subjects. The test subject is, they're screaming. They're being held down rather harshly by one of your assistants. Then there's a cut to dramatic footage of long needles, bloody scalpels. Then another dramatic cut to the simian after the operation. Its eyes are darting back and forth, and it's exhibiting very unnatural behavior. It's scared, banging on bars on the cage. And then there's a footage of yourself and Dr. Whitehead seemingly casually looking at it, laughing, joking. Another cut to baby baboons in a separate cage, filmed in extreme close-up, acting in unnatural ways and coming across as extremely traumatized. All of this is set to disturbing music. It's clear that someone on the inside has had access to the experiments. Then there's a cut to a room. There's a person in a balaclava with their voice altered, sitting in front of a green screen. They detail the number of subjects that have died so far during the research. 12, out of which 7 had to be euthanized. Dr. Christensen, this is factually correct, but it's of course also just the cost that has to be paid for the research to progress, right?
Yeah, it's been less than optimal in that regard. I'm thinking to myself, we had batches that, before we really knew what we were doing, unfortunately passed much quicker than anticipated.
There's footage of a baboon eating fruit in what appears to be a cage. You recognize it. This was your main test subject, the one closest to being able to do the transplant. Text on the screen reads, "Soon I will have life again." They still have it. Somewhere, those who took the test subjects, they still have it. The distorted voice ends by a Gandhi quote saying that the true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. And then the clip just ends. Wainwright looks to you, and as does Crystal Lee and Anita Radkovich as well, kind of as though they were waiting for some form of explanation or defense.
And the first thing that goes in my head is who was there filming all this? Was there someone filming this? Or did we put up cameras and someone has gotten the footage?
You don't remember seeing any cameras. You were very focused on the research, of course. I mean, people had phones, but yeah. You get this paranoid feeling, you know, that the one you get when you feel like someone has been doing something behind your back.
I know this. I know how this looks, but listen, this is dramatized footage. I'm not sure that even some of these clips, where they were just showing bloody instruments, that was even from the place. And that particular time where we were laughing, that was completely taken out of context.
Dr. Christensen, you can see how this situation is going to be untenable for the hospital, right?
Well, this is for science. This is for a cause. I can see how it looks bad when you only see this and the negative results so bad, if so solely displayed, but the advances that we made, how close we were before we were sabotaged, all of that's all in our books, all in our... I can show you.
I'm sure you can, Jermaine, but look, because of your long service to the hospital, we're going to give you a choice. You can quit voluntarily. We can say family reasons, Dr. Whitehead's untimely death. There's all kinds of reasons that we can give, right? Or we can terminate your employment, whichever one you prefer. We can legally proceed either way without paying you any redundancy, so regardless, it's clear that you and your research has got to go. the group that has taken this, they will release it soon. We don't know when. And as strange as it seems, all these awful things now happening on our streets gives us an opportunity. We can get out ahead of all of this and announce that we've already taken action against everyone involved in the research, and that we are as shocked as the public would undoubtedly be. And with any luck, the current unrest will keep this off the headlines, and it will be old news by the time the media gets a hold of it, once people are able to focus on something other than the election aftermath. So, which one is it? Quitting or being fired?
I stand there stunned for a bit, seeing how quickly they would take they would act on this. This is like, I blurt out, this is like giving in to terrorism or blackmail. I don't understand how you could choose this path.
She doesn't say anything to that, just seemingly still waiting for your answer on which way it is going to be.
No, I'm not gonna quit. If you're gonna fire me, then that's on your hands, but it's on you to think about the future lives we could have saved and changed with our work. That's gonna be on you.
Don't worry about that, Dr. Christensen. We have the best interests of the hospital and all those patients that we serve at heart. Believe that. I would like you to roll to keep it together. You have just been fired from your job.
That's a 12. I'm gonna be very angry. Seeing as how my daughter is in just the next floor in a critical situation. I haven't slept all that well, and I had a real episode yesterday. So I flare up. What? How do you mean you can't pay any redundancies? If you fire me, I expect a severance package, and you can't just throw me to the lions.
All three of them stand up, and the legal manager, Crystal Lee, says, believe me, Dr. Christensen, we know exactly what we're doing here. But if you want to take this to court, then we will take it to court. And they begin moving out of the room, having finished firing you. You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the scenario, A Hole in My Heart, for KULT Divinity Lost. We have created this scenario ourselves, and this series is sponsored by Helmgast. The music was made by Atrium Carceri, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Antxon, Graham Barey, and Doug Thomson for their generous support. And we'd of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for KULT Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play KULT with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that death is only the beginning.